Mass Media.
Mixed Grounds is proud to present I Just Wanted to Push Record, celebrating arts, community, and culture. Part of the Olas Media Network.
Welcome to I Just Wanted to Push Record, a producer's podcast, where lifestyle, arts, community, culture, and production meet. Two producers, two cultures, and a whole lot of flavor. Join hosts Lena and JC for fun conversations, cool interviews, sharing tips, laughing through production hiccups, and celebrating the art of it all. Ready to roll? It all starts with pushing record.
Well, what a privilege it is to be up and running again. Another one of these days where we just wanted to push record. We have some great guests that are joining us here. They've come to the Olas Media Studio here in Mission Valley. How it came about is kind of random, but once we get to the end of this, you'll find out why it's really not that random. I was over in East Village. This had to be probably back January, maybe, or March, somewhere in there, back pre-spring, midwinter. And I was going to Punch Bowl Social, and I was going to have some drinks. I think it was a Sunday afternoon, strolling down, seeing all that one would see in East Village. And there is this glorious building that's downtown. If you know the block, you know where the police station is, you know where Punch Bowl Social is. What you need to find is Invictus. It is what do they call it? They say it's an unsuspecting spot that when you look at it, you're like, Invictus, the name, what is that? And that's what happened to me. Luckily, because I'm the imbiber that I am, I went over to Punch Bowl Social, found a friend of mine, Steve. He was telling me about, dude, what is your problem? How don't you know about Invictus? And I was like, one, I'm not up on Greek mythology, but two, one, he knew I wasn't a CrossFit guru, but as people that are joining me in the studio today, they can tell you I'm not a CrossFit guy yet. You may not be, but if by the time you finish this episode, we may have changed your mind. It is my pleasure to introduce both Kim McLaughlin and Sam Dancer from Invictus. They're joining us here today, just to kind of let us know a little bit more about what we don't know. Welcome, you all.
Pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
No, so I am not going to do a piss poor job of describing or introducing our listeners to Invictus, right? I am going to jump right off the top, and I want them to hear what Invictus is all about. And somebody tell me about that awesome building that you got downstairs. But because I'm from the South, I just always yield to the lady first. Tell us about Invictus, Kim.
So Invictus is a functional fitness location in San Diego. We happen to have a number of very, very successful athletes in the sport of CrossFit, but we also do just general health and fitness. So there's some nutrition involved. There's some cardio classes. There are some muscle building classes. And it's just a place for people to come get a workout in, but also get to know a really good community of people that share similar values and similar lifestyles, and that you can kind of go in and forget what your problems are for an hour and get your heart rate up at the same time.
So that means you threw Sam under the bus to talk about this building. But you said functional fitness. Like, is that a thing? What does that actually mean, functional fitness?
Yeah, that's a great question. So functional fitness is basically we want people to be able to move well into their 70s, 80s, 90s. We want people to be able to pick up heavy objects and put them down. We want to be able to run far or walk far. We want to be able to hike. Basically, you want your fitness to work not just in the gym so that you've got some good muscle showing, but to live life outside of the gym.
I got it. Yeah, Sam, I'm trying to buy you some time before I come talk about the building. But I have to say, when I was down there, the first thing I thought about was like, ooh, it's got its own little architecture. It's just unsuspecting is just the best word for it. But then now, as you walk in here, Sam, the first thing I thought about was like the Hall of Justice, right? It's like where all the superheroes are. Sam came in here, and I thought we were going to have to take the door frames off the door. But we got him in here. Sam, it's great to have you here. Talk to us about that building and what you know about Invictus.
Man, well, first of all, I'd like to just kind of cover some of the history of Invictus. When I first started coming around back in 2015, we were located down in Little Italy. which is, it has some great memories attached to it. And Kim obviously having about, I think, 6 more years on me being around Invictus. I'm sure she remembers that quite well. And we've had locations in Point Loma and Sereno Valley, and we've kind of condensed it all into that East Village location. So it really has kind of become like a mecca of a sorts for us, and it's a rather large location, and we have a lot of people in there. It's a melting pot too. There's kids running around, there's people in their 80s working out, and everything in between. It's quite a sight.
Yeah, superheroes, right? Because I can only imagine if they look like you all, because Kim comes there too, like, what? Say something. And I'm like, no, I'm going to be on my best behavior. But seriously, like, it's like, I can only imagine what that look like to have people that are fit, that are happy, one, because they're going to be smiling, laughing, or coming out like, yeah, I just got it in today, right? Like, that's a great place to be. But, looking back, you said 2015, so we're talking about 9 years ago. I'm looking at just about 3 years ago since I moved back to San Diego, and just that 4 little span block of where you all are between the residences. I've seen the W. That's the
lots happened
residence.
in the past 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
There's in that community, it's changed a lot. I think there's a boxing gym that's kind of like right around the corner. Police station I mentioned, but it's a lot of activity. You got all of your MTS coming through there, right? But it's not over, right? It's like that area of East Village is working out, so to speak, right, and growing. And so I'm excited to see what prompted you all to go from Little Italy to be, and it looked like you all got in early, so that's even better. What prompted that?
Yeah, we our Little Italy location closed because they wanted to build apartment complexes in the building that we're in, and so we were just looking around for another large. We unfortunately or fortunately require a good amount of square footage, and the location that we have in East Village was really the only place in the downtown area that we could find 12,000 square feet to work with, and so that's what brought us there. When we originally moved there, you're right, there were all sorts of decrepit buildings around us. There's a couple of maybe I don't even know what to say, but there were like parks, but that had been overrun by a transient population. And so it wasn't like the best area. Now that they're building up a bunch of things, tearing down other locations, I think we have a pretty sweet spot. Hopefully we can keep it for a while.
Yeah. I mean, what I always say, one way to keep it is to say that you started it.
That's
right?
true.
And so I'll go into this interview at least saying that.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for Invictus, none of this would be happening. But there are some good things. Like, first, though, you talked about it was born in Little Italy. Is that where it started? Mm-hmm. Well, Sam, how about you? You were born in Illinois?
I was, I'm originally from Illinois, lived there pretty much all the way through college, and then shortly after started my CrossFit career, and things took off rather quickly. Just a small town kid, and went from really not knowing anything of the world and all the cultures around, and to traveling the world and competing all over the world, and eventually landing part-time out here in San Diego.
Well, we're going to get to some of your awards and championships, but for the kids out there who want to know where does it start to become a champion, you do want to tell them about that D1 university that you went to, right?
Man, it started a little bit before that.
Okay.
I would say one of the most like transformational and formidable periods of my life would have been in high school, and I had a really hard time in high school. I was mercilessly bullied and physically assaulted. I've been spit on. I've been urinated on. I've been kicked. I've been beat up a number of times. Had stopped even carrying books to classes because I was so tired of them getting slapped out of my hands every time I walked by, like other juniors and seniors. And man, it just kind of it hardened my heart at first, but eventually once I kind of I used that anger, if you will, to kind of fuel my athletic career. I wasn't really athletic growing up necessarily, but I was so mad and I wanted to hurt these people so desperately that I thought if I just got big and strong, I could at least defend myself and maybe even very well impose my will on other people. And played football, I played hockey, I eventually got into track and field. And like I said, I wasn't a great athlete at the time, but I ended up getting so big and strong and fast that it didn't really matter that I wasn't that athletic. I was able to dominate in sports, and eventually kind of grew out of that anger, and my heart softened a little bit, and it led into me being, I don't know, more compassionate and more accepting, and just not wanting to see other people go through the things that I went through, even though it was very formative for me. Just nonetheless, it brought on so much pain. It would just hurt me to think that like anyone who had anything less than me to go through that would make me feel awful. So it's kind of led to me creating ways and opportunities for people to feel more included and accepted, and also use fitness the same way I use fitness to get confident and to gain confidence.
I mean, you leapfrogged me. I wanted to get into you being a coach there at that Invictus too. I think some of the things you mentioned, talking about compassion, talking about resilience, talking about, triumph over adversity, those type of things, kind of empower people to be able to be an authority that people can look up to, respect, and honor, because they know where it comes from a place of genuineness and authenticity, right? I want to come back to that, because Kim, you started just as a member at Invictus, but you've now made an ascension to a couple other places, right?
Yeah, so I was actually introduced to CrossFit in general after my rugby career ended. So I played rugby at a high level for 10 years or so, and when that ended, mainly because I was too old, I just decided that I needed to find another community to be a part of, and I needed to find people who liked working out for the sake of working out, and had a friend that was into CrossFit, and she told me about Invictus, and she was like, you gotta come try it. And then I saw the price and went, absolutely not. And she paid for my first month, and I fell in love and just couldn't take myself away. So I, at the time, was working as a broker for a company in the finance industry, and wanted to figure out how I could get out of that. And so I started working the front desk at Invictus, and then eventually moved into, I have an undergrad degree in sports psychology, so I moved into a coaching position at Invictus, and then moved into a manager position, and then just recently became a partial owner. So
Nice. Congratulations. When I know you mentioned CrossFit, right? I think my first introduction to CrossFit were like these Reeboks that I saw in the store, right? And I was like, that's an odd shoe. That's not like a cross trainer, but it's not like something I'd wear on a basketball court. Like, what isn't it like? It's made for CrossFit. And I was like, oh, okay. And again, I have not tried CrossFit, so I didn't get the shoe, right? But tell us, those that are listening, like, what is CrossFit? I want to hear from you all specifically. When someone says, CrossFit, what is that?
yeah, I think that there's two different types of CrossFit. When people hear the word CrossFit, they either think of the sport of CrossFit, which is a bunch of athletes who are, throwing around barbells at a quick pace and running and basically doing any sort of athletic feat that you could dream up, and doing it at a very high level. And then I think that there is CrossFit as it was kind of created and started back in the 70s as like a way to improve your life outside of the gym. So you can do a bunch of things, and you can mix modalities. So you could do some bodybuilding, you can do some running, you can do some lifting, you can do some Olympic lifting, you can do some gymnastics, and all of that will help you function in the world and help you at the sports that you love, and doing things with your kids, getting up off the ground, that kind of thing. So I think the CrossFit in general is really two different camps. You can really focus in on, being a competitor and making sure that your form is good and you're moving around. And then there's other things that you can use your strength to help enhance your life outside of the gym.
And Sam, which way did you go?
Well, actually, I when I just knew that I wanted to coach people. I had a manager at my first job out of college, and he pulled me into his office and he's like, "Sam, we got to get you out of here." And I'm like, "What do you mean? You trying to fire me or something?" He's like, "No." He's just like, "You don't belong here." He's like, "You don't belong in sales. You don't belong here, like doing the job that you're doing." He's like, "You're meant for something else." And he's like, what do you love?" And no one had ever really asked me that question before, and so I had to kind of think on it for a little bit. And when I got down to it, I was like, man, I love like fitness and wellness, and I like teaching people about it. And he's like, all right, like would you like to coach people and or maybe own a gym or something like that? I was like, yeah, I think I'd really enjoy that. He goes, all right, hop in my car. And we went and drove around town, and we looked at buildings together, and he helped me put together a business plan, and I opened up a CrossFit gym. And it wasn't much longer after that where I did I saw the CrossFit games on TV on ESPN, and I saw what the guys were doing, and I was like, dang, I was like, I can do that. I was like, I think I can even do it better. I think I can do it faster. Yeah. And I went and did my first CrossFit competition, and I did well. I did some things really, really well, but I also did really bad at some things too. And I went to work on the things, the blind spots and the areas that I wasn't as good as the other guys, and it took off rather quickly for me. It went from opening a gym in 2012 and podium at the CrossFit Games in 2014. So,
and you're affiliated with Invictus. You're a coach there. So is it a family of champions, or you're kind of like, or is it just, you're just a superstar and that's it, or you all have a history of like cranking out the best?
There's quite a history at Invictus. I would say we're definitely one of the most accomplished and oldest CrossFit gyms in the world. We put a number of teams on the podium, a number of individuals on the podium, and we're annually cranking out some dense numbers when it comes to the amount of athletes that we're putting out on the competition floor, both at the open level, the quarterfinal level, semifinal level, and the games level.
So what I'm hearing is that, yeah, this is CrossFit at a high level, right? Because what I'm really considering is my producer, Lena, right? I may just bring her down there, push her in the building, and just say, go, right?
We got her.
That's not made for, yeah?
We got her.
Yeah?
Yeah.
She could just start anywhere, so it's for anybody.
Anybody, any place. It doesn't matter where you're at. You could be missing an arm, a leg. You could be blind. You could have a...
could have sat on the couch for the last 10 years.
Yeah, it literally does not matter where you're at. I specifically even work with athletes with special needs, so athletes with Down syndrome and autism. And it does not matter where you at. We have progressions for you, and it's such a scalable model that it's applicable to anyone and everyone. And you don't have to be in shape to join. You don't have to know any of the moves or anything. We got you.
And I feel like that's the magic of Invictus, is that we do have a number of very accomplished, very successful, very strong athletes, men and ladies, that you can walk in and you immediately know that these people work out. But you can also walk in and be like, what, this 87-year-old that's over in the corner doing what looks like the same thing as that athlete who just placed first is doing, just at a lighter weight, is super interesting. And I think Invictus is known for worldwide for the podium finishes that we've had and the number of teams that we've sent to games and our number of individual athletes and all of that. But I think that the real benefit of Invictus in San Diego is that is just proof that what we do works. If you can be anyone and come in and you can tell us your goals, and we'll get you to whatever those goals are. So if that's, climbing a mountain, or if that's playing with your grandkids, or if that's, going to be your son's baseball coach, we've got all of those things that are happening in that same building.
Yeah, well, you mentioned benefits, because I was getting ready to touch on that in preparation for my time with the great folks from Invictus. what I started doing is rubbernecking when I start seeing other CrossFit gyms, right? And so my vision that I see a lot of times is obviously there's a tire involved, right? That's usually getting flipped over. They don't run anywhere but on sidewalks and around the building. They can't do the pull-ups that I was taught in elementary school. There's like you got to cross your legs and you got to have something on your back. They don't stop moving, but supposedly they're just like, so these are my visions. See, I did pretty good research, right? Pretty good research.
Pretty accurate.
Yeah. The thing that baffles me is that even you all's disposition, right? Like there's this whole stereotype that like people who are in fit are miserable, right? But I've heard that there's some fun in fitness. Right, Kim?
There is some fun in fitness. That is where my passion lies. I did the competitive thing up through 2014. Loved it. That's the reason I got into CrossFit to begin with. But now it's just to make sure that I continue to move. As you get older and as you have kids and as you start to get involved in their lifestyle and still try to maintain a lifestyle of your own, fitness is so important to just be able to walk around, be able to play with kids, be able to do all of those things. And in order to keep myself accountable, I need to have some people who, if I don't show up at the gym, are going to call me and be like, hey, what are you doing? You weren't at class today. Or, you weren't here for a week. Did you go on vacation? If you didn't go on vacation, get your butt back in here. And so that community of people that have formed at the gym are just the reason for my enjoyment of fitness to begin with. I have a 4-year-old, but we have been trying to have a second child for 3 years now, and we've gone through all sorts of infertility treatments. We've done a ton of things. I've gotten pregnant 3 times, had 3 different miscarriages, and on my 3rd miscarriage, I was at work and somebody was like, go home, like take a day and just like walk by the beach, or like get back in with your thoughts and like just take a minute to process it. And athletics and movement and working out has always been my like passion and my way to deal with stress and my just basically way to kind of like shake things off, get things right with life. And so I went home, jumped on my Peloton because I do have one of those at home, and did a workout, got off of that thing after about 30 minutes. I was like, oh, that doesn't make me feel better. And I, went for a run. That didn't make me feel better. And then I went back into the gym and saw people. They had no idea what had happened. They didn't know anything, but they were like, Kim, what's up? How's it going? Giving me hugs. And I did a workout with those people, and I was like, this is what I need, is just the people and the energy and the support. I didn't have to say a word. They didn't know I was upset. It was just that the fact that I was there made it so that I felt supported and I felt loved. And with all the technology and work from home and all the things that are happening now, I feel like communities are less and less. And if you can find people that you bond with and that you that care about you genuinely, regardless of what's going on, it's so rare. And I think that is what the fun in fitness is. It's not the working out, although that is sweating is fun and throwing bars, but I could do that at my house. I have a gym set up at my house. I can't find the community and the support that I get going into the gym through working out on my own. So it keeps me accountable, but it also makes me feel like I'm part of something bigger.
And I think we all definitely learned through COVID too that community is obviously an integral part of our well-being. We were all craving it and just so excited to have that back towards the tail end of all that wrapping up. So it's just, it's really cool to hear Kim's story and the effectiveness of how therapeutic and medicinal and effective community is for our well-being.
Well, I think I can tell you all are awesome coaches because you're already coaching us up, Lena and I, on this podcast, because one of the things that we were thinking about with the inception of the show is culture, community, art, and lifestyle, right? And everything that you all have described, and I would attest to, right? Like you're saying, community. There is some type of catharsis that happens when we are amongst our tribe, right? We don't have to be on the defense. We don't have to over-explain. It's like you get me, I get you. Let's just do what we came to do type of mentality, right? And so therefore, it breaks down some of that pressure that's on things. When you start talking about community, it's the people who have experienced that culture who now have an appreciation for it to come and say, I'm going to commit to you to be there for you as you commit there to be there for me, right? Like you said, when you walked in there, they're like, hey, let's go. We're ready. And when you wrap all that up in a lifestyle, which is now something that you practice at a higher level and have a commitment to, but also instill the compassion and with the passion, as well as just making sure that you're empathetic to others, right? Because when you say everybody's welcome, right? Because we could be in a culture, be in a community, and then be exclusive, right? But when you're talking about from age 7 to age 87, that's a wide swath of people, right? That's 1,200,000 square feet can barely hold all of them at one time, right? But it does it, you know? So I think it's awesome. You also mentioned about the your children in your life, that type of thing. And as a newly adorned grandfather, one of the things that I learned about a month and a half ago was, I was doing a crab walk around there, and I'm like, whoa, we hadn't been doing this, and this is only year 1. We got a lot more years to do some crab walk. But it's one of those things where now it becomes a consideration for me of like, wait, I need to find out what's my thing. Because if I'm choosing to continue to crab walk with this dude, right, I ain't gonna be able to do it sitting on the couch, going to Punch Bowl Social on a habitual, non-healthy way. Not digging on Punch Bowl Social. It's a great place to celebrate when you win a competition or after workout. But yeah, I mean, I think finding that calling and that purpose is huge. It's huge. And, going back to the competitive side, though, I think a lot of times I've seen, watching on the ESPNs and on the different shows, that it has to be something like that. That's your passion, a calling back to that same equation of culture, community. Because in the stands, you've got your community and you're in your culture. Now it's just competitive, right? I mean, I'm not the competitor, Sam, but I'll let you tell me, what is it that, compete? Because there's one thing you say to go work out. This is like, okay, I'm great. But when you take that to another level, like, nah, I'm going to be the best out here, right? And not just on a whim level, right? You're a repeat champion, yeah?
Been up there a few times.
Yeah, I love the humility.
I was going to say, he's being very humble. He's very accomplished.
Yeah. Well, I guess the drive. We'll start there, and then I'll come back to Kim. You can run down the list. What drives you? What made you take? I mean, we heard your story, which I think is a very touching story, and I think unfortunately in today's age we hear about a lot of young people who probably can identify with some of the things that you've had to endure and overcome and triumph. What is it that drives you even now at this level?
Man, I constantly get this like, gosh, I don't know if it's like my subconscious or if it's some sort of just even spiritual thing, but I get this voice like in my head, and it says like, show them what's possible. And I feel an obedience to that. Like I feel like I'm here to make sure that I'm an example of what can be accomplished through discipline and through continual just continuing to show up. And yeah, it's really that simple. When I was younger, I always kind of dreamed of, I wanted to be a professional football player, or I wanted to be like a world champion at something. But when you check those boxes and you've accomplished those things, like then what drives you? And I would have to say it's just that voice in my head that tells me to just go show them what's possible.
And Kim, how many times did he actually succeed and go show them what's possible?
I mean, he would probably know better than me because I lose track. But I know you've been at the podium at least twice with Invictus, once with your own gym.
Yeah, 2014, we got second place to Invictus, actually, which is kind of what put Invictus on my radar. I'm like, dang, man, like, I want to go hang out with the first place people.
But wait, see, I still, you all are oozing this humility. So this is what, the first place of the 5th Street block of East Village?
I was second place in the world on a team.
As in El Mundo. Right.
The world, yes. CrossFit.
World.
So all sorts of European, Asian teams. We've got there's literally everywhere. Sends over. You have to qualify, but you can send over some teams, and they take the top 40 into this competition. Or at that time, I think it was the top 40 into the competition, and then they all compete for 4 days and figure out who's the best of the best, the fittest of the world.
Global community.
Global community. Yeah.
That's it. Hall of Justice, like
Yeah.
all over the world, all over the world. But I'm gonna come back to that too. I know I keep saying I'm going back, but what I do want to talk about, talk about coaching. You all are both coaches in a household too, right? You have like that. I don't know that it's optional, right? When tell me about your lifestyles at home, because like I think I mentioned before, it's a commitment, right? Like you can't perform at your level and say, I'll just go do it tomorrow, or I'll catch up with it. I'll double that setup. But I'm just using what little limited gym lingo I know. But you can't take any days off, barring the cliche. Like, how is it that you balance all your family life and your commitment to one of your passions?
Man, it's a for sure. Just being a relatively new father, and like you mentioned, it's a inescapable like part of my life. Like I can't just check out and just be like, oh, I'm not gonna parent today. But what I will say in regards to like becoming more adapted to that and getting to a place where the degree of difficulty doesn't seem as high, has come through just consistency and discipline. And the things that seemed really difficult to me years ago, because of just like continuing to show up. And a lot of that, like Kim's touched on, a lot of it's the community. It's the people around you that love you and support you, that kind of get you through the days when you're like, how am I going to do this? Whether we're talking about the gym or the household, where you're running low on sleep, you had a baby up all night, or your body's sore from whatever like progression you just finished and on your back squats or whatever. But man, it's the people that kind of keep you coming back in and keep you motivated. And then when you're consistent through that, you end up developing the discipline, and it just becomes like an automatic behavior. And it just gets easier and easier and easier. And I would attribute a good majority of that type of progress and getting to a place where something was originally extremely difficult to where it's just like a natural thing that takes place and you don't even think about it anymore, to the people.
And it probably helps to have a Jess at home too, right?
Jen.
Yeah. Well, you can have a Jess, but you can have.
I know some Jesses too, and they're great. But
you went in for the Jen. You went in for the Jen.
Yeah. Definitely helps to have a Jen at home.
And for the people, that is.
That is my wife.
Sorry for messing that up.
Yeah, it's all good. Love you, Jenny. But yeah, anything awesome that I've ever done is a direct reflection of who she is as a woman and a wife and a supporter and a friend of mine. So, mad respect to J-Lo.
Nice. And again, I apologize because that's probably the worst way to start out. But I should have just left it alone. But how about Kim? Let's talk about your balance. You went into some of your personal side and some of the things that you've had to overcome or deal with, or where do you pull on to actually be able to maintain and handle that? Let's say outside of just the CrossFit component, what are some of the other important elements that helps you be able to do that?
Yeah. Well, I actually met my husband at the gym. He was one of my private clients.
And he has a name that I'm not going to say.
Yeah, his name's Andrew.
Okay.
He's
Shout
great.
out, Andrew.
But I met him through the gym, so he was part of that awesome community that we have. But since we've had our little guy, we've both commented many times that I want Isaac is my little kid, but we want him to grow up in a place where fitness is just part of your life and moving around is part of your life. And so if his daycare's not on Monday, he comes into the gym with me and he, hangs out with Sam's kid and a couple of the other children in the gym that are there with other parents. And yeah, I try to make it more of a lifestyle thing that is just, it should be normal. I'm not making time for my workout. That's just what has to happen. Like, I have to brush my teeth. I have to get a workout in. So, the best part is that he has really taken that to heart, and his new excuse for not going to bed on time is, "I didn't work out yet, Mom."
I dig it. Shout out, Isley. Shout out.
So he'll do some push-ups and he'll try to elongate that, which I love. Honestly, it's the only excuse that will work.
Don't they call that resistance?
Yeah.
It's not term number 3.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, but I really, that's my secret, is that I'm just trying to integrate him into the community that I love, and that, he will hopefully carry on well past, because I also think going into school and, starting to make a life of your own, like, fitness was so important to me or sports rather, was so important to me growing up, that I just want that to also be part of his life. So.
No, I think it's great. I mean, from where I sit, usually on the couch, it is powerful and impactful to me just to be able to hear you all talk about it so passionately. I know I keep bringing up that word passion, but for me, someone right now who, again, not in the gym, it's like I have to have that calling. I'm a retired high school athlete, right? And
you look great.
Well, thank you. It's the lighting. But I played basketball, and it was just like you just said. Like, you didn't have to force me to go. You had to force me to go home, right? And Mom would do the same thing. You're supposed to be home before the street light came on. What's wrong? And I'm like, man, I had to get one more game in, right? Because he beat me in 21 last time. I can't go home with an L, right? Can't leave on a missed shot. It is amazing to me. I don't want to say you're cut from a different cloth, but do you feel like, because you accept everyone, do you feel like any and everybody has this type of calling in them? And is there anything that makes CrossFit easier to overcome that? Nah, I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm going to keep going back to the community, but it is like, we have so many people that have walked in just so afraid. I have a member who joined and then probably 6 months after came over and was like, "I just have to tell you that before I actually walked in the doors to even get more information about what you guys do, I sat in my car and cried because I was just so scared to walk in. And it's so intimidating to do something new and to put yourself out there and to know that you might not be good at this. And so you're going to have to watch people who are good, and you're going to have to take some time to, like, actually build up some skills and build up some confidence in the movements." And then they were like, we walked in, and all of a sudden I had 5 new friends in the first 10 minutes that I was there. And then it really does change different parts of your life. So you want to hang out with these people all the time. You want to make sure that you have the same goals as the other people that you're hanging out with outside. So it's what you talk about. It just becomes like part of your life very quickly.
Gosh, and it feels good to feel good, man. Just like, your basketball days, like whether it was just making that shot or winning that game or even the loss.
Yeah.
That feeling of losing, how that motivated you and drove you to want to stay out a little bit later so that you could redeem yourself. But ultimately, yeah, man, it feels good to feel good. And and that's available to everybody.
Well, it's funny. You all are perfect guests, because the funny thing about it, I was sitting with my man Steve. He actually does rehab, right? The one who told me about Invictus. And the thing about it, he was like, yeah, you want to feel good. It feels good to feel good, but it also feels bad to be bad, right? Because he tells me about there are injuries involved. Because we want to get our disclaimer in here. What is your advice when you talk to people about, hey, yeah, come on in? Like, in terms of, I've heard, I didn't look this up in my gym, vocabulary, but like knowing your body's limits, right? If you have any pre-existing conditions.
Yeah.
What do you all say to those people who are like, well, you mentioned one arm, one leg, whatever. But whatever my thing is, what is your advisement?
Yeah, progression. Kim's probably definitely a little more qualified with the role that she's had over the past few years as a coach to probably comment on this. But just even as a high-level athlete, I have to be very cautious and conscious about how I'm progressing throughout the season. If I try to train at the beginning of the season, the way I'm performing typically at the end of a season, I will undoubtedly injure myself. And it's happened too. So there has to be a degree of humility and a true honest assessment of where you're at, not where you were. You mentioned you used to play basketball,
retired high school.
Yeah,
athlete.
a lot of times people are still have a little attachment to what it was that they were, and you have to relinquish that. And progression is ultimately the thing that will keep you safe.
You just can want to keep your thought right there, but I did want to say, because we're about to run short on time. The one thing that I'm big on that I think we're headed in that direction anyway, the mental health component, right? The benefits to it, knowing that we're talking about our outside communities are operating a totally different space, right? We're not looking to call people in. We're more so to call them out. We're not looking to invite them. We're usually ready to reject them. And some of us are retreating into those COVID moments where it's like, I'm just not dealing with anybody. It's crazy out here. And maybe I'll come out later, maybe I don't. And it becomes a dark place. And that, just like, one of the things that I'm aware of, even with my dad now, he had a bad wheel, right? Like his knee is going down. And it was like, I watched him over the last year, because his knee would go down, then he's not going out as much. And so he's staying home as much. And then now he's still eating, but now he has more time, so he's eating more. And so then you just kind of see that breakdown from a mental health standpoint, to not be able to exercise that muscle, or to be able to rehab, or to know your limitations, or knowing when something's not right, right? What does CrossFit do for the mental capacity? We talked about, some of the nutritional and the health-wise, but what about the mental capacity of people?
Yeah, I mean, one of the beautiful things about Invictus in particular is that our coaches are trained to customize for people. So if you've got a bum knee, we can work around that. We can give you things that are not going to bum that knee out even more. We can do things that are going to keep you moving and keep you feeling like you've got a good workout in, regardless of what you have going on. And so for the mental health aspects of that, yeah, you might have a bum shoulder, you might have a bum back, you might have bum knee, but we can help you move in a way that's not going to exacerbate that problem. Hopefully it'll help that problem, and it is going to keep you feeling like you're still your same old self. You're still able to move. You're still able to do things that are hard, that you can overcome obstacles, things like that. And so our culture of customization that we have there is, you might walk into a class and see one thing, written on the board as the quote unquote assignment, but you could see 5 people doing what doesn't look like what was just on the board, because they've got something going on that they need to adjust, and we want to make sure that they're just consistently coming in. And so we want to make sure it doesn't matter what you have going on, you've got some options. If you can just get your body into the space, then we can do the rest for you. We can help keep you mentally sane, so that you're moving, you're doing things that you want to be doing, but that you're not hurting yourself further if you have a previous injury. The biggest thing is just let the coach know what's going on. That is I would say the only downfall is if you don't let us know you have a bum shoulder, I can't help you work around it. And so that would be the one thing I would say. If you are coming in and you want to start a thing of fitness, but you're like, 2 years ago I couldn't get out of bed because my back hurt, let us know that, so that we can work on improving some of the muscles that surround what may have been an issue before.
In the spirit of letting us know, Sam, let us know what's coming up this summer for you, man. What do you you're about to get out of here in a couple days, right?
Yeah, we leave tomorrow morning for semifinals. We got do we have 3 or 4 teams?
We have four teams.
4 teams competing, and we have 3 individuals.
Where you hit it?
We are going to Carson, California, and competing at the tennis stadium, kind of back to our roots, if you will, kind of where the CrossFit Games not necessarily originated, but where the people home base for a lot of folks who came into CrossFit early on. I
got to find this out. They're like, what do you have to do? So you're going up to Carson, It's major competition.
This is
on the tennis court.
Yeah, this is the entire West Coast semifinal. So it's not just like California.
I'm
is
start
like,
asking
oh,
you. This guy's like he's
I'm
good.
just
Yeah,
doing
I'm going
a
up the
thing.
street. Yeah.
No, it's
in
the
the
entire
world?
West Coast. They had to go through 2 different qualifiers to get to this stage in the competition. So it's a pretty big deal. And Sam is one of the individuals competing there, and he got some big goals.
Yeah,
Is it over a couple days?
Yeah, it'll be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We'll have 6 events. I'm looking to be the oldest athlete to ever qualify for the CrossFit Games, and hopefully, punch my ticket this weekend.
Yeah, dude, your whole manner is dope. Like it's just like that's just not only am I that guy, but I'm also the oldest guy. Right, that's what I'm going for. No, I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
I think it's pretty awesome. I've doted over you all so much about. I like what you all are doing. You guys were a great find. I got to give another shout out to Steve because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have known anything about it.
Thank you, Steve.
You maybe even have converted me over. Maybe if I can get him to pay my membership fee.
Yeah, heck yeah. See?
Right? Yeah, that'll pay for the advertising.
I just need just 1 month.
Yeah.
So
There we
that'll
go.
hook you.
There we go. Before we get out of here, though, anything else that you got going on this summer, Sam, let us know. And then, for that person now who's like can't even sit down until they find out where Invictus is as an address and what they need to come down and who they need to see.
Yeah.
Let us know.
I got you. Well, check us out. We're in East Village, 1401 East Street. That's Invictus downtown. And we got lots of great community events that we run. One specifically that's coming up is our Glow Row, which is going to be happening on June 15th. And this is a wonderful event for people to kind of get a little taste of what we're all about, because this is a community event. This is an event where Invictus is partnering with the Dancer Love Foundation. The Dancer Love Foundation is a non-for-profit that works to get athletes with various special needs into gyms and help them receive free professional coaching. So, like, if you really want to see the range of types of people that are present at Invictus, come sign up, come participate. We're rowing. This sounds crazy, but we're rowing a marathon, teams of 10. And it's a wonderful way to get introduced into the community and to just fitness in general. So even if you haven't been working out for the past 5 years, rowing is a wonderful place to start. And you'll get to see athletes of every kind. There's going to be little kids there. There's going to be athletes with Down syndrome and autism, and maybe even athletes that are, gosh dang, maybe missing an arm or a leg. Like we don't limit our services to just individuals with mental or cognitive disabilities, but also just physical disabilities as well. And I assure you there would be nothing more exciting for you to see that would motivate you to want to have what they have, which is that freedom. That health is wealth and fitness is freedom, baby. So come make some money with us at Invictus and get to reap the benefits of your health and wellness. And it's just that'd be a great event for anyone in the area to come participate in, to learn more about what we do at Invictus.
And we also want to support any of the other fitness type things that are going on in San Diego. So we have a team entered into the Pride 5K. We're also going to go as a community watch the Wave play in August.
Yes.
The CrossFit Games are going to be happening in beginning of August, and
Where's that?
that is going to be in Texas.
Yeah.
You should know that.
Yeah, somewhere in Texas.
Somewhere in Texas.
It's easy to find them in Texas.
Right.
It's just
Yes,
Texas. But we have the Google. The Google cheat sheet. Yeah.
But we should be sending some teams there, hopefully, if they do well this weekend, and then hopefully we'll see Sam there as an individual athlete. And
I'm claiming it now.
Yeah, we've got some good people to watch, kind of on the world stage there, as we get into the later parts of the year. We'll have more activities going on at the gym, so definitely just come in, walk through the doors, check us out. Again, it's like 1401 East Street, so we're right in the middle of East Village. But if you don't want to go there, CrossFit Invictus or invictusfitness.com, our website, that's our website information. You can find us on social media, our San Diego page, which is all about our everyday athletes. So you may see Sam on there, but you'll see more.
Probably not. It's probably just blacked out. I just said that guy.
You'll see more people like me on there that are, just mom and dads and, CEOs and just bottom of the rung military folk. That we've got them all. And that Instagram handle is Invictus_San Diego. And then our main page, our CrossFit Invictus page, which features more athlete things, is just CrossFit Invictus. So.
No, that's dope. We're going to make sure we pin all that to our show notes. So everybody, if you're listening to this episode and you're didn't get all of that, it's in the show notes. And it's not,
Perfect.
then it's Lena's fault. But last thing I was going to say, Sam, again, wish you all the best, man. It's pretty cool to have you come in. I appreciate you sharing your story. That's not something that we take for granted because we do this all the time, but we realize stories are what really motivate, move, and inspire people. But it also supplies a level of education. And so thank you for taking that humbly and letting us know a little bit more about you. And Kim, I admire you for what you have experienced and what you're willing to share for other people. These stories are, like I said, those things that change lives, and you all do it with a smile, you do it with grace, and obviously you do it with passion. So with that, I'm going to get ready to shut us down. Oh, last promise, and I'm going to get you on. When you win, right, we will work with Olus Media and we'll sponsor your parade.
Hey.
Your champion parade.
Let's go.
Right here in the driveway.
All right.
Right, we can shut it down and we'll open it up right here in Mission Valley just for you.
You guys got a beautiful spot over here. I'm down to come back.
No, but seriously, that's where I was angling at too, because maybe if we can't do a full parade, we'd love to have you back, man, and talk about this journey. I think what you all do, just because without retribution, Kim, you made a commitment to come over here, follow through on it with not knowing anything. So I appreciate that. So listen, that's enough for me. I just wanted to push record.
Thank you for listening to I Just Wanted to Push Record, a producer's podcast. Be sure to follow and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. To hear other episodes or read the associated blogs, visit olasmedia.com, and be sure to follow us on Instagram with the handle Olas Media Studio. I Just Wanted to Push Record, a producer's podcast, is produced in studios in San Diego, California, and Tijuana, Baja, California. Olas Media is an IVC media company.
Olas Media.